The following presentation is strictly for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or professional insurance advice. Automobile accident laws, liability statutes, and insurance regulations vary drastically by jurisdiction, differing wildly from state to state within the United States. What is considered a standard post-collision procedure in a no-fault state like Florida or Michigan may severely compromise your legal standing in a tort liability state like Texas or California. Viewers are strongly advised to conduct their own extensive due diligence and consult with licensed attorneys, qualified insurance brokers, or authorized legal representatives in their specific local jurisdiction before making any decisions following a vehicular incident. The historical trends, case studies, and potential outcomes discussed in this material are drawn from general public data and industry observations and should not be interpreted as a substitute for personalized, professional legal counsel. Relying on the general educational frameworks provided herein is done entirely at your own risk. Imagine you are driving home on a completely unremarkable Tuesday afternoon. The weather is clear, the traffic is moving steadily, and you are just 2 miles from your driveway. You approach a familiar intersection, the light turns yellow, and the driver in front of you suddenly slams on their brakes. You react quickly, pressing your foot hard against the pedal, but momentum carries you forward. You hear a dull, sickening crunch. It is a minor fender bender. You are only going perhaps 5 miles per hour at the point of impact. Both cars pull over to the shoulder of the road. There is a cracked taillight, a scuffed bumper, and no shattered glass. The other driver steps out, looking slightly startled but completely uninjured. You step out, your heart beating a little faster than normal, and you do what almost every single polite, well-intentioned person in the United States does in this exact scenario. You walk up to the other driver, raise your hands in a placating gesture and say, "I am so incredibly sorry, I completely misjudged the distance, are you okay?" That single fleeting sentence, lasting less than 4 seconds, just cost you potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars, triggered a multi-year legal nightmare, and handed a predatory insurance adjuster the exact piece of verbal ammunition they need to completely deny your side of the story. You have just unknowingly stepped into one of the most ruthless, highly optimized, and legally perilous arenas in the American financial ecosystem: the post-accident liability trap. Every single day in the United States, there are thousands of minor car accidents. According to historical trends and data gathered from national traffic safety organizations, a vast majority of these incidents are classified as property damage-only crashes or minor collisions. Because there is no horrific wreckage, no ambulance sirens blaring, and no catastrophic visible injuries, the average American driver treats these minor scrapes as an annoying inconvenience rather than a high-stakes legal event. They treat the aftermath like a casual interaction at a grocery store checkout line. This is a monumental, life-altering miscalculation. The insurance industry in the United States is a multi-billion-dollar apparatus driven by complex algorithms, risk mitigation strategies, and teams of highly trained adjusters whose primary occupational directive is to minimize corporate payout. When you engage in seemingly harmless behaviors at the scene of a minor crash, you are not dealing with a sympathetic neighbor. You are feeding data directly into an adversarial system. Case studies from traffic attorneys across the country reveal a chilling pattern. The most devastating financial and legal consequences rarely stem from the actual physical damage of a minor collision. Instead, they stem entirely from the catastrophic behavioral mistakes drivers make in the immediate 30 minutes following the impact. When your vehicle strikes another, or is struck, your central nervous system immediately dumps a massive surge of adrenaline and cortisol into your bloodstream. Your fight-or-flight response is activated. In this hyper-aroused neurological state, your cognitive processing shifts away from long-term strategic thinking and defaults to immediate threat de-escalation. Your brain wants to resolve the awkward, terrifying confrontation as quickly as possible. You want to shake hands, exchange a quick photo of an insurance card, assure everyone that everything is fine, and flee the scene to return to the safety of your normal life. This biological vulnerability is exactly what bad actors, fraudulent claimants, and aggressive insurance companies prey upon. You might think that a small scratch on a bumper means you can handle the situation informally. You might think that admitting a little bit of fault makes you look cooperative and reasonable to the police officer writing the report. You might believe that skipping the police report altogether is a great way to keep your insurance premiums from skyrocketing. Every single one of these assumptions is a dangerous myth that has historically led to drivers facing sudden, massive lawsuits months after the accident, discovering that their insurance claims have been outright denied, or finding themselves legally liable for phantom bodily injuries claimed by a driver who seemed perfectly fine at the scene. We are going to dismantle these myths one by one. The problem American drivers face today is a severe lack of situational awareness regarding the legal minefield of traffic accidents. You are operating heavy machinery in a highly litigious society where a simple handshake deal on the side of a highway can easily be twisted into an admission of total liability in a civil deposition. The goal of this deep dive masterclass is to completely rewire your reflexes. We are going to explore the critical gap between what feels like the right thing to do socially and what is absolutely necessary to do legally and financially. We will systematically break down the 10 things you must categorically avoid doing after a minor car accident. We will explore the hidden tactics used by third-party adjusters, the psychological traps you will inevitably face on the side of the road, and the step-by-step defensive protocols you must adopt to protect your assets, your driving record, and your peace of mind. By analyzing historical outcomes and the intricate mechanisms of the auto insurance claims process, you will develop a bulletproof mental framework for handling these highly stressful situations. You will understand how to document a scene with clinical precision, how to communicate with law enforcement without compromising your legal rights, and how to interact with the opposing party safely. This is not about paranoia. This is about absolute preparedness in an environment where your words and actions are heavily scrutinized. We will begin by addressing the most common, most instinctual, and most destructive error drivers make the moment they open their car door, setting the stage for everything that follows. The absolute worst thing you can do the moment you step out of your vehicle after a minor collision is utter a single word of apology. It is a deeply ingrained American cultural reflex to try and de-escalate a tense situation by taking the blame, but saying you are sorry is not just a polite gesture. In the ruthless arena of auto insurance and liability law, it is potentially a legally binding admission of fault. When you experience the shock of an impact, your brain attempts to normalize the situation, often pushing you to smooth things over with the other party. You might simply be expressing sympathy that the accident occurred at all, but the legal system and corporate insurance adjusters do not interpret your words through the lens of human empathy. They interpret them through the cold, rigid framework of financial liability. To understand the sheer magnitude of this error, we have to look at how these casual statements are processed within the legal concept known as an excited utterance. In many jurisdictions, statements made spontaneously under the stress of a startling event are considered highly credible by courts and insurance investigators. Because you are speaking rawly and without the time to formulate a defensive narrative, your immediate on-scene apology is treated as the unvarnished truth of the matter. You might actually be entirely blameless. The other driver might have abruptly reversed into you, or perhaps their brake lights were completely non-functional. However, the moment you step out and accept the blame verbally, you hand the opposing insurance company the exact leverage they need to deny your claim and place the entire financial burden of the accident squarely on your shoulders. Historical trends in traffic litigation consistently show that drivers who apologize at the scene face a significantly higher uphill battle in proving their innocence later, even when physical evidence points in the opposite direction. Imagine a highly plausible scenario taking place in the current year 2026. Consider a driver named Michael, living in suburban Illinois, who is on his way to a routine dental appointment. Traffic comes to a sudden halt, and despite Michael braking forcefully, his front bumper makes slight contact with the rear of the sedan ahead of him. The damage is nearly imperceptible, perhaps just a few transferred paint scuffs. Michael, being a generally anxious and well-meaning citizen, jumps out of his car and immediately begins apologizing profusely to the other driver, a woman named Emily. He nervously babbles that he was glancing at his digital dashboard and just did not stop in time. Emily nods, seems completely unbothered, and they decide not to call the police because the damage is so minor. They simply exchange digital insurance cards on their phones and drive away. Michael feels relieved that he avoided a major confrontation. 6 months later, Michael receives a devastating certified letter in the mail. Emily has retained a personal injury attorney and is filing a massive bodily injury claim against his insurance policy, citing severe, delayed-onset whiplash and chronic back pain stemming directly from the collision. Michael is completely stunned. He contacts his insurance provider, expecting them to fight the frivolous claim because the impact was practically non-existent. Instead, his adjuster informs him of a catastrophic complication. Emily had an active dashcam that recorded audio of the immediate aftermath, capturing Michael clearly stating he was distracted and entirely at fault. Because of this recorded admission, Michael lost his ability to contest liability. His insurance company, recognizing the insurmountable legal hurdle his apology created, chooses to settle the claim for a substantial sum rather than fight a losing battle in court. Consequently, Michael sees his insurance premiums skyrocket to an unaffordable rate, and he is flagged in the National Underwriting Database as a high-risk driver, a label that will haunt his finances for the next 5 to 7 years. This case study perfectly illustrates the severe potential outcomes of prioritizing politeness over self-preservation. Modern insurance claims processing in 2026 relies heavily on automated algorithms and highly specialized adjusters who scan initial reports and recorded statements for specific trigger words. Words expressing guilt, distraction, or an admission of failure to maintain a safe distance are immediately flagged. Once your own insurance company notes that you have accepted fault at the scene, their primary objective shifts from defending you to mitigating their own financial exposure. They are not going to spend thousands of dollars on accident reconstruction experts or legal defense teams to prove you were innocent when you have already publicly declared yourself guilty. You have essentially done their job for them, and you have done the opposing attorney's job for them as well. Instead of apologizing, you must adopt a strict, emotionless protocol the moment you exit your vehicle. Your communication must be restricted entirely to neutral, fact-gathering inquiries. The only appropriate first question to ask the other party is whether they are injured, and if they require immediate medical assistance. If they say no, you do not follow up with commentary on the weather, the traffic conditions, or your own reaction time. You remain polite but utterly silent regarding the mechanics of the crash. You are there to exchange mandatory biographical and insurance data, not to conduct an impromptu roadside therapy session or a forensic breakdown of the incident. You must treat the other driver respectfully, but you must simultaneously view them as a potential legal adversary who is actively gathering evidence against you. Every word you speak can and will be documented, whether by a smartphone voice memo, a modern vehicular surveillance system, or the notes of a responding officer. Mastering this silence is incredibly difficult under the influence of adrenaline, but it is the foundational step in protecting your legal and financial well-being. You must let the physical evidence, the tire marks, the point of impact, and the environmental factors tell the story of the accident. Leave the determination of fault entirely to the trained professionals and the slow, deliberate process of claims investigation. However, simply keeping your mouth shut is only the first layer of defense. Many drivers successfully avoid the apology trap, only to immediately stumble into a procedural disaster that completely nullifies their initial discipline. They survey the minor damage, look at the seemingly friendly other driver, and make a fatal logistical decision that leaves them entirely exposed to catastrophic financial fraud and legal manipulation. That fatal logistical decision is the handshake agreement. You look at the scuffed bumper, the other driver looks at their watch, and they make a highly compelling, deeply dangerous proposition. They suggest handling the matter privately. They plead with you to keep law enforcement and insurance conglomerates out of the equation. They promise to transfer funds to your bank account by the end of the day to cover any minor body shop fees, leveraging your natural desire to avoid paperwork, avoid premium spikes, and simply get on with your day. In the high-stress environment of a roadside collision, this sounds remarkably reasonable and efficient. You are busy, they are busy, and waiting potentially an hour for a patrol car to arrive for what appears to be a mere cosmetic scratch feels like a massive, unnecessary burden. Falling for this illusion is the second catastrophic mistake you can make. You must never, under any circumstances, bypass securing an official police report. When you agree to a handshake deal and drive away from the scene without contacting the authorities, you are stepping completely outside the protective framework of the American legal system and entering a lawless zone of absolute hearsay. Historical trends within the auto insurance industry demonstrate with overwhelming clarity that these undocumented agreements are the primary breeding ground for some of the most complex, fraudulent, and unwinnable claims imaginable. To an insurance adjuster sitting in a corporate office hundreds of miles away, an accident without a police report is functionally an accident that never happened, or far worse, an accident you intentionally orchestrated to commit insurance fraud. The police report is not just a piece of administrative red tape. It is the foundational document of any vehicular incident. It establishes an independent, legally recognized and objective record of the exact date, precise time, geographical location, environmental weather conditions, verified driver identities, and most crucially, the initial spontaneous statements made by both parties before anyone had the opportunity to consult with defense attorneys or fabricate a self-serving narrative. Let us examine a highly representative case study from the current year 2026. Imagine a driver named David, an architect living in the bustling suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. David is legally stopped at a red light when he is rear-ended by a seemingly affluent, well-dressed driver named Robert. The visible physical damage is incredibly minor, restricted entirely to a cracked license plate frame and a small smudge of transferred paint on the rear bumper. Robert steps out, incredibly charming and profoundly apologetic. He explains that he drives a corporate vehicle and is absolutely terrified of losing his employment if this minor infraction goes on his record. He begs David not to call the police. He hands David his expensive business card, displays his driver's license, and immediately hands over $600 in physical cash as an act of immense good faith, swearing to pay whatever the final auto body shop invoice dictates. David, wanting to be empathetic to another professional's career anxiety, and seeing the immediate cash as undeniable proof of integrity, agrees to the arrangement and drives away. 3 days later, David takes his vehicle to a certified collision center. Once the plastic bumper cover is carefully removed, the mechanic discovers significant, hidden structural damage to the rear crash bar, the parking sensors, and the underlying frame, bringing the true repair estimate to over $5,000. David attempts to call Robert. The phone number on the premium business card connects to an automated, generic voicemail system. He sends multiple emails with the estimate attached. He receives no response whatsoever. David is eventually forced to contact Robert's insurance company directly, utilizing the policy number he quickly photographed on the side of the road. The potential outcomes of this scenario are financially devastating for David. Robert's insurance provider formally and aggressively denies the claim within 48 hours. The reason is chillingly simple. Robert has already contacted his own provider and completely fabricated an alternative reality. Robert reported that David abruptly and illegally threw his car into reverse at the intersection, intentionally slamming into Robert's vehicle, and then aggressively fled the scene before Robert could safely contact emergency services. Because David willingly left the scene without securing a sworn police report, it is purely his word against Robert's. Furthermore, Robert's insurance company legally argues that the $600 in cash was not an admission of guilt, but rather money David extorted from Robert under the threat of physical violence at the scene. Without the objective authority of a sworn law enforcement officer documenting the point of impact, verifying the debris field, and recording the initial admissions of fault, David's legitimate claim is completely dismantled. He is now forced to file the massive claim under his own collision coverage, pay his high deductible out of pocket, and watch his own monthly premium skyrocket for a traumatic accident he played absolutely no part in causing. The core issue here is that human behavior changes drastically once the roadside adrenaline fades, and the harsh financial reality of an at-fault accident sets in. The friendly, cooperative driver you meet on the shoulder of the highway often transforms into a hostile, evasive adversary the exact moment they realize they are facing thousands of dollars in liability, increased rates, and potential legal citations. They speak to their spouse, they consult with an attorney, and suddenly their memory of the event drastically contorts to protect their own financial interests. Furthermore, operating without police presence exposes you to widespread documentation fraud. Bad actors frequently present canceled, expired, or completely forged digital insurance cards on their smartphones, which you have absolutely no technological ability to verify on the side of the road. A responding police officer runs those documents through real-time state databases, instantly verifying active coverage and valid vehicle registration. An official report also prevents the increasingly common extortion tactic of phantom passenger claims. Historical trends indicate a massive rise in fraudulent claims where an at-fault driver later officially declares that their spouse, child, or elderly parent was actually in the vehicle during the minor collision, subsequently suing your insurance company for non-existent soft tissue injuries and severe emotional distress. A police report meticulously documenting that the other driver was the sole occupant of their vehicle completely obliterates this multi-thousand-dollar extortion attempt before it can even be filed. To protect yourself, you must adopt an uncompromising, ironclad protocol. Regardless of how insignificant the damage appears, regardless of how exceptionally friendly the other driver acts, and regardless of how tightly packed your daily schedule might be, you must immediately call the local non-emergency dispatch line or dial 911, depending entirely on your specific municipal requirements. You must state clearly that a vehicular collision has occurred on a public roadway, and respectfully request an officer to officially document the scene. If the dispatch operator informs you that local police units no longer respond to minor, non-injury accidents on private property or busy highways due to staffing shortages, which is an increasingly standard operating procedure in major metropolitan areas in 2026, you do not simply shrug your shoulders and give up. You must physically drive your vehicle to the nearest police precinct within 24 hours to file a formal desk report, or immediately utilize the official municipal online collision reporting system. You must forcefully generate a documented paper trail that bears a government timestamp. Securing that official documentation is your absolute most powerful shield against future liability, fraudulent injury claims, and bad faith insurance denials. You must hold your ground and wait for the authorities to arrive to create that permanent, unalterable record. However, while you are waiting on the side of the busy road for those flashing lights to finally appear in your rearview mirror, you are entirely vulnerable to another catastrophic procedural error. Drivers are consistently and understandably taught to prioritize physical safety above all else, but in their sheer panic to comply with this survival instinct, they unknowingly destroy the most crucial piece of forensic physical evidence at the scene, making it mathematically and scientifically impossible for the responding officer or the insurance reconstruction teams to accurately determine who actually caused the crash. This catastrophic error is the immediate, instinctive relocation of the vehicles before capturing a comprehensive photographic and videographic record of their final resting positions. In the United States, drivers are culturally conditioned and often legally instructed by roadway signage to clear the intersection and move to the shoulder after a minor fender bender. The pressure to comply with this instinct is immense. The moment metal crunches, the cars piling up behind you begin blaring their horns. The other driver is likely waving their arms frantically, aggressively motioning for you to pull into a nearby parking lot or gas station. Every fiber of your being is screaming at you to escape the flow of traffic, to stop being a public nuisance, and to get your damaged vehicle to a safe harbor. However, in your rush to be a courteous citizen, you are systematically destroying the only objective, irrefutable evidence of liability that exists. Once the tires roll away from the exact point of impact, the physical context of the accident evaporates into thin air. You have erased the crucial relationship between your vehicle, the opposing vehicle, the lane markers, the traffic signals, and the scattered debris field. You have transformed a clear geometric equation of cause and effect into a murky, unwinnable contest of conflicting verbal narratives. Let us examine a highly common scenario utilizing historical trends from urban collision data. In the year 2026, imagine a driver named Sarah, a software engineer living in the rapidly expanding metropolitan area of Austin, Texas. Sarah is commuting home during rush hour and is navigating a complex dual left-turn lane at a massive, multi-lane intersection. She is legally maintaining her position in the outer turn lane. Suddenly, a heavy-duty commercial landscaping truck in the inner lane cuts the corner far too sharply, drifting over the solid white line and heavily sideswiping the entire driver's side of Sarah's sedan. The grinding noise is horrific. Both vehicles immediately brake and come to a halt right in the middle of the busy intersection. The driver of the landscaping truck, a seasoned operator fully aware of the liability implications for his commercial insurance policy, jumps out and immediately starts yelling over the roar of traffic. He gestures wildly at the hundreds of cars backing up behind them, demanding that Sarah drive her car into the adjacent strip mall parking lot, so they do not block the entire junction. Flustered, intimidated, and desperate to escape the chorus of angry car horns, Sarah immediately complies. She shifts her car into drive, limps it into the parking lot, and the truck follows her. This single action completely obliterates her legal defense. When the Austin Police Department arrives at the strip mall 20 minutes later, the vehicles are parked neatly side by side in designated parking spaces. The officer takes out his notepad and asks what happened. The commercial driver calmly, confidently, and entirely falsely claims that Sarah was texting, drifted into his inner lane, and sideswiped his truck. Sarah vehemently denies this, stating he cut into her lane. The responding officer looks at the physical damage. There are long horizontal scrape marks down the sides of both vehicles. The damage perfectly proves that the two vehicles made contact. It completely fails to prove which vehicle crossed the solid white dividing line. Because Sarah moved her car before taking a single photograph of the vehicles resting directly on the lane markers at the point of impact, there is zero physical evidence to support her true narrative. The officer cannot definitively assign fault, based on two contradictory stories and matching scrape marks. He writes a neutral, inconclusive police report. The potential outcomes for Sarah are now financially disastrous. When the claim goes to the insurance adjusters, they review the neutral police report and the complete lack of scene photos. Relying on their standard risk mitigation protocols for unwinnable he-said-she-said scenarios, they assign 50% comparative negligence to both drivers. Sarah is held legally responsible for half of the accident she did absolutely nothing to cause. She is forced to pay her steep collision deductible out of pocket to repair her own vehicle. Her clean driving record is tarnished with an at-fault partial liability mark, and her insurance premiums increase exponentially for the next half-decade. The commercial driver, by leveraging the psychological pressure to move the vehicles, successfully escaped full liability. You must view the immediate aftermath of a collision as an active, highly volatile forensic investigation zone, and you are the lead investigator for your own financial future. Unless your vehicle is completely immobilized in a blind curve on a high-speed interstate where you are in imminent, life-threatening danger of being struck by an 18-wheeler, you must pause. If the accident is minor, you turn on your hazard lights, you ensure you are physically uninjured, you safely step out of the vehicle while watching for oncoming traffic, and you enforce the 45-second documentation rule. You pull out your smartphone, switch it to its highest resolution video setting, and you begin recording continuously. Do not take disjointed, individual photographs yet. Start with a single, unbroken video narrative. You must capture the exact final resting position of both cars relative to the painted lines on the asphalt. Walk a slow, complete 360-degree perimeter around the entire crash scene. Capture the license plate of the opposing vehicle immediately, in case they suddenly decide to flee the scene in a hit-and-run maneuver. Zoom in on the point of physical contact between the two cars before they are separated. Pan the camera up to clearly show the status of the traffic lights, the presence of yield signs, and the weather conditions. Point the camera at the ground to document any skid marks, shattered plastic, or fluid leaks, which professional accident reconstructionists use to mathematically calculate the exact speed and trajectory of the vehicles at the moment of impact. Only after you have secured this unassailable digital fortress of geographical and forensic context do you even consider discussing moving the vehicles to the shoulder. By capturing this irrefutable visual evidence, you completely strip the other driver of their ability to fabricate a favorable narrative after the fact. You lock them into the physical reality of their mistake. You have now mastered the silence, secured the police response, and forensically documented the scene like a professional investigator. You finally move your vehicle to the shoulder, turn off the engine, and wait for law enforcement to arrive. You feel a brief wave of relief, thinking the hardest part is over. The other driver walks over to your window. They seem much calmer now. They are holding their own smartphone in their hand, the camera lens pointed casually but directly at your face. They offer a warm, disarming smile and ask you a seemingly innocent, incredibly brief question about your well-being. How you choose to answer this highly calculated, completely unprompted interrogation will instantly determine whether you walk away fully protected, or whether you inadvertently hand them the exact audio recording they need to utterly dismantle your entire case before the police even flip on their sirens. That highly calculated, completely unprompted interrogation usually comes in the form of 3 simple, seemingly empathetic words. Are you okay? The other driver is standing outside your window, their smartphone resting casually against their chest, the camera lens pointing directly at your face, and the microphone actively recording your response. Driven by a potent combination of residual adrenaline, social politeness, and a desperate desire to normalize a traumatic situation, your immediate, overwhelming instinct is to smile weakly, nod your head, and declare that you are perfectly fine. You might say that you are just a little shaken up, or that you have not suffered a single scratch. Uttering those words on a digital recording in the immediate aftermath of a vehicular collision is the 4th monumental mistake you can make, and it possesses the power to completely annihilate any future legitimate medical claims you may need to file. To comprehend why this casual reassurance is so legally destructive, we must examine the intricate biological realities of the human body during a sudden impact. When your 2-ton vehicle abruptly collides with another object, your central nervous system instantly registers a massive physical threat. In a fraction of a second, your adrenal glands flood your bloodstream with epinephrine and powerful endorphins. This biological fight-or-flight mechanism is an evolutionary marvel designed to mask severe physical trauma, allowing you to escape immediate danger without being crippled by pain. While you are sitting in your driver's seat, your hands trembling slightly on the steering wheel, your body is actively lying to you. You are temporarily incapable of accurately assessing your own physiological state. Historical trends in biomechanical engineering and auto insurance claims data consistently demonstrate that low-speed collisions frequently result in significant soft tissue damage that remains entirely undetectable in the initial hours following the crash. The human neck and spine are incredibly susceptible to whiplash, micro-tears in the ligaments, and subtle disc herniations, even when the vehicular impact occurs at speeds as low as 8 miles per hour. The inflammatory response required for these injuries to manifest as physical pain often takes 24, 48, or even 72 hours to fully develop. When you definitively state on a smartphone recording that you are not injured, you are providing a medically inaccurate, legally binding self-diagnosis while under the profound influence of naturally occurring painkillers. Consider a deeply revealing case study reflecting common insurance defense tactics in the year 2026. Imagine a driver named William, a software developer residing in Denver, Colorado. William is legally proceeding through a green light when a distracted driver named Jessica runs a red light and clips the rear quarter panel of his SUV. The collision causes William's vehicle to violently spin 90 degrees before slamming against the curb. Despite the terrifying rotational force, William feels completely unhurt immediately after the vehicle comes to a rest. Jessica rushes over, visibly panicking, holding her phone out, and asks if William is injured. Wanting to calm her down and genuinely believing he has escaped unscathed, William clearly states on her video, "I am totally fine, just some property damage, do not worry about me at all." 3 days later, William wakes up incapable of turning his head. A sharp, radiating pain shoots down his right shoulder and into his fingertips. An urgent visit to an orthopedic specialist and a subsequent MRI reveal a severe cervical disc herniation directly resulting from the rotational whiplash of the accident. The required physical therapy, specialized imaging, and potential surgical interventions represent tens of thousands of dollars in sudden medical debt. William files a bodily injury claim against Jessica's liability insurance policy. The potential outcomes for William take an immediate, disastrous turn. Jessica's insurance adjuster requests all evidence, and Jessica gleefully provides the video of William stating he was completely uninjured. The insurance conglomerate immediately deploys their legal defense team to systematically deny William's medical claim. They use his own recorded statement as a devastating weapon against him, officially classifying it as a prior inconsistent statement. They argue in legal proceedings that because William definitively stated he was fine at the scene, his severe spinal injury must have occurred during an unrelated event in the 3 days following the crash. They portray him as an opportunistic individual attempting to commit insurance fraud by attributing a weekend sports injury or a pre-existing condition to a minor fender bender. Because William provided that definitive audio recording, his attorney faces an incredibly difficult, uphill legal battle to prove causality, and William is forced into a prolonged, financially draining litigation process while his medical bills compound daily. You must recognize that in the modern era of ubiquitous digital surveillance, the opposing driver is not your friend, and they are not conducting a wellness check. They are actively gathering defensive evidence. When they approach your window and ask if you are injured, you must ruthlessly suppress your instinct to be polite and accommodating. You must remember that you are not a licensed medical professional, and you are entirely unqualified to diagnose your own neurological or musculoskeletal condition in the middle of a busy roadway. Your response must be entirely neutral, legally ambiguous, and medically conservative. You must look directly at the other driver and state clearly, "I cannot make a medical determination at this time. I am still processing the impact." Alternatively, you can state, "My adrenaline is incredibly high right now. I will need to be evaluated by a medical professional before I know for sure." By utilizing these specific phrases, you completely neutralize their attempt to trap you. You acknowledge the reality of the situation without committing to a definitive medical diagnosis. You leave the door wide open for future bodily injury claims should you wake up 2 days later in agonizing pain. You protect your right to seek appropriate medical compensation by simply refusing to give the opposing insurance company the soundbite they desperately want. You have now successfully navigated the immediate aftermath. You have avoided the apology trap, you have demanded official documentation, you have preserved the physical evidence, and you have shielded yourself from premature medical declarations. Finally, you see the flashing red and blue lights reflecting off the surrounding vehicles. A uniformed police officer pulls up, parks their cruiser strategically to block traffic, and begins walking toward you with a clipboard in hand. You likely feel a massive surge of relief, believing that authority has arrived and you are finally safe to speak freely. However, your interaction with law enforcement presents a completely new set of highly nuanced legal dangers. The moment the officer asks you to explain exactly what happened, the specific vocabulary you choose to describe your actions can instantly shift the entire burden of liability onto your shoulders, simply because you decide to use one incredibly common, universally misunderstood phrase. That incredibly common, universally misunderstood phrase is simply, "I did not see them." When you are standing on the side of the road, answering a police officer's questions, your primary psychological goal is usually to emphasize how sudden, unexpected, and unavoidable the collision was. You want the officer to understand that the other driver acted so erratically or broke the traffic laws so blatantly that you had absolutely zero time to react. So, you point at the intersection, shake your head, and tell the officer that the other car came out of absolutely nowhere, and you simply did not see them until the exact moment of impact. In everyday conversation, this perfectly communicates surprise and innocence. In the rigid, hyper-technical world of auto insurance liability, however, uttering those 5 words is the equivalent of legally handing a loaded weapon directly to the opposing insurance adjuster. To understand the profound danger of this statement, you have to understand a fundamental legal concept utilized in nearly every jurisdiction across the United States, known as the duty to maintain a proper lookout. Under standard traffic laws, every driver operating a motor vehicle has a continuous legal obligation to be aware of their surroundings, to anticipate potential hazards, and to see what is plainly there to be seen. When you officially state to a responding police officer that you did not see the other vehicle, you are not proving that the other vehicle was moving too fast. Instead, you are inadvertently confessing on a government document that you were legally inattentive. You are admitting a failure to maintain a proper lookout. Insurance adjusters are explicitly trained to scan police narratives for this exact phrase because it grants them the immediate power to assign partial or total fault to you, even if the other driver blatantly caused the initial hazard. Let us examine a highly detailed case study from the current year 2026 to illustrate this devastating procedural trap. Imagine a driver named Thomas, a high school science teacher living in the sprawling suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona. Thomas is driving his mid-sized crossover SUV through a quiet residential neighborhood on a Saturday afternoon. He comes to a clearly marked 4-way stop, completely halts his vehicle behind the white line, looks both ways, and legally proceeds into the intersection. Suddenly, a teenager driving a heavily modified sports car completely ignores the stop sign on the intersecting street, blasts through the intersection at 40 miles per hour, and violently T-bones the passenger side of Thomas's crossover. The physical evidence is clear. Thomas had the right of way. The teenager ran the stop sign. When the local Phoenix police officer arrives and asks Thomas what happened, Thomas is furious and overflowing with adrenaline. He points at the sports car and loudly declares to the officer, "He blew right through that stop sign at top speed. I did not even see him coming until he slammed into my doors." The officer simply nods, pulls out his electronic tablet, and types exactly what Thomas said into the official narrative section of the police report. Driver 1 stated he did not see driver 2 prior to the collision. The potential outcomes for Thomas are enraging and financially punitive. The teenager's insurance company receives the police report and immediately flags Thomas's statement. While they acknowledge their teenage driver ran the stop sign, they aggressively apply the doctrine of comparative negligence, a legal framework used in many states that allows fault to be distributed between multiple parties. The adjuster argues that if Thomas had been maintaining a legally required proper lookout, he would have easily seen the speeding sports car approaching the intersection and could have hit his brakes, potentially avoiding the collision altogether. Because Thomas openly admitted he did not see the car, the insurance company successfully argues that Thomas was 30% responsible for the crash due to his own inattention. Consequently, Thomas is only awarded 70% of his property damage claim, leaving him thousands of dollars out of pocket for a crash caused by a reckless driver, and his own insurance premiums spike because he is now on record as being partially at fault. This historical trend of weaponizing casual statements is exactly why your interaction with law enforcement must be radically disciplined. When you speak to a police officer after an accident, you must completely eliminate assumptions, guesses, and dramatic narratives from your vocabulary. You must stop trying to convince the officer of the other driver's guilt, and instead focus entirely on objectively stating your own legal compliance. You are not a storyteller. You are a sensory data recorder. When the officer asks you what happened, You must stick strictly to verified, chronological facts regarding your own vehicle. You state your direction of travel. You state the condition of the traffic signals facing you. You state the specific point of impact on your vehicle. Instead of saying you did not see them, you clearly state the parameters of your awareness without admitting fault. You say, I was traveling northbound on Main Street, my traffic light was green, I entered the intersection legally, and my vehicle was struck on the passenger side. If the officer presses you for details about the other driver's speed or location prior to the crash, and you honestly do not know because the event happened in a fraction of a second, you do not guess. You do not hypothesize. You simply state, I cannot accurately estimate their speed. I only know I was proceeding legally when the impact occurred. Furthermore, you must completely refrain from speculating about the other driver's mental state or distractions. Drivers frequently tell police officers, I think they were texting, or I assume they were looking at their navigation screen. Unless you possess superhuman vision and actually saw the glowing screen of their phone at the exact millisecond of impact, this is pure conjecture. When you flood a police report with unverified guesses, you compromise your own credibility. Defense attorneys and hostile adjusters will use your incorrect guesses to cast doubt on everything else you stated, painting you as an unreliable witness to your own accident. Your power lies in absolute, unshakable adherence to the simple physical facts of your own driving behavior. By carefully managing your dialogue with law enforcement, you ensure the resulting police report acts as a shield rather than a liability. You have now survived the roadside gauntlet. The officer hands you a card with the official incident number, the tow trucks clear the debris, and you finally drive your damaged, but operable, vehicle back to the safety of your own driveway. The adrenaline crash hits you, leaving you exhausted and desperate to put the entire ordeal behind you. You sit down at your kitchen table, pull up your insurance company's mobile application or dial their 24-hour claims hotline, and prepare to fulfill your contractual obligation to report the incident. However, this perfectly logical next step is exactly where the majority of American drivers trigger the sixth disastrous mistake. The specific communication medium you choose to initiate this very first contact with your own insurance provider, and the hidden psychological traps built into their intake process, can permanently lock you into a highly restrictive, heavily monitored track that is specifically designed to minimize your eventual payout before an adjuster even looks at your file. That sixth disastrous mistake is consenting to a recorded statement or submitting an exhaustive digital narrative during your first notice of loss, while you are still suffering from post-collision cognitive fatigue. In the highly complex American auto insurance industry, this initial contact is known as the first notice of loss, and it sets the entire trajectory of your case. When you dial that toll-free hotline or launch that beautifully designed mobile application in the year 2026, you are not simply checking an administrative box to notify your agent. You are stepping directly into a highly calibrated, heavily automated algorithmic intake funnel. The deeply sympathetic, friendly voice on the other end of the telephone is a highly trained claims intake specialist. Their primary occupational objective, meticulously disguised as helpful customer service, is to permanently lock in your specific version of events, your preliminary assessment of the vehicle damage, and your current physical condition on a legally binding audio recording long before you have had the opportunity to consult with an auto body specialist, a medical doctor, or a legal professional. You are sitting at your kitchen table. Your adrenaline levels are finally crashing, and you are experiencing profound mental and physical exhaustion. Your cognitive defenses are completely down. The intake specialist will utilize expertly crafted disarming language. They will inform you that recording the call is merely standard procedure, that it will drastically expedite your claim processing, and that it is simply for quality assurance purposes. This is a masterful psychological and legal illusion. Historical trends reveal that these initial recorded statements are frequently weaponized against policyholders, even by their own insurance providers. This is especially true in states operating under personal injury protection laws or uninsured motorist frameworks, where your own insurance company might end up paying your medical bills. When you are exhausted, you ramble. You guess distances incorrectly, you underestimate the speed of the vehicles, and you actively downplay your physical discomfort because you just want the telephone call to end so you can finally go to sleep. Imagine a highly plausible scenario involving a driver named Christopher, a registered respiratory therapist living in Columbus, Ohio. It is a rainy Thursday evening. Christopher is sideswiped on the busy interstate by a driver who briefly loses control in the treacherous hydroplaning conditions. The physical damage to Christopher's sedan seems entirely cosmetic, mostly isolated to some heavy paint transfer on the driver's side doors. Christopher drives home, walks through his front door, and immediately calls his own insurance provider. The intake representative is incredibly warm and immediately asks to record the conversation to get his car into a repair shop as fast as possible. Christopher readily agrees. During the 30-minute recorded interrogation, Christopher is incredibly tired. When asked about his vehicle, he explicitly states it is just a few deep scratches on the doors. When asked about his physical health, he definitively states he is absolutely fine, just a little stressed out from a long hospital shift and the sudden impact. 2 days later, the harsh reality of the situation sets in. Christopher takes his sedan to a certified structural repair facility. The master technician quickly discovers the internal B-pillar of the vehicle is severely compromised, requiring complete replacement and specialized welding, instantly turning a seemingly minor cosmetic issue into a $9,000 structural repair. Concurrently, Christopher develops severe, radiating pain in his left shoulder, a classic delayed symptom of a torn rotator cuff caused by fiercely bracing his arms against the steering wheel during the violent lateral impact. Because the at-fault driver carried a state minimum liability policy that barely covers half the property damage, Christopher is legally forced to file an underinsured motorist claim against his own policy. The potential outcomes for Christopher are brutally restrictive. His own insurance company immediately pulls the audio file of his first notice of loss recorded statement. They actively flag his claim for internal fraud review. They point directly to the fact that just 48 hours prior, Christopher explicitly stated the damage was just a few scratches and that his body was absolutely fine. The insurer uses his exhaustion-induced recorded statement to aggressively dispute the severity of the structural damage, legally suggesting the B-pillar damage must have occurred during a previous, unreported incident. They completely deny the costly medical claim for his torn rotator cuff, citing his own recorded admission of perfect health at the time of the accident. Christopher is now trapped in a vicious, prolonged dispute with the exact financial institution he has paid premiums to for over a decade, all because he consented to a recorded interrogation when his cognitive state was severely compromised. In the technologically advanced claims environment of 2026, this intake process is even more perilous. Insurance conglomerates utilize sophisticated voice analytics and natural language processing software during these recorded calls. These artificial intelligence systems actively analyze your vocal stress levels, your hesitation patterns, and your specific word choices in real time. If you pause to think about how fast the other driver was going, the software flags that acoustic hesitation as potential deception. If you use minimizing language like I think or maybe, the system instantly categorizes your narrative as highly unreliable. You are essentially testifying against yourself in an invisible algorithmic courtroom where the rules of evidence are heavily stacked in favor of corporate risk mitigation. Furthermore, many drivers choose to bypass the telephone call entirely, opting to use their insurance company's mobile application to file the initial claim. This presents a uniquely dangerous digital trap. These applications are intentionally designed with restricted character limits, leading questions and mandatory drop-down menus that force you to categorize the complex accident prematurely. By forcing you to select from limited, pre-written options regarding the mechanics of the crash or the extent of the damage, the application systematically strips away crucial context. If you select minor sideswipe from a drop-down menu because there is no immediate option for hidden structural frame damage, you have digitally submitted a minimized version of the event. These digital submissions carry the exact same heavy legal weight as a recorded phone call. You must completely separate the strict contractual act of reporting the accident from the perilous act of providing a comprehensive narrative statement. Your contractual obligation to your insurance company simply requires prompt notification that an incident has occurred on a specific date. It absolutely does not mandate that you submit to an exhaustive recorded interrogation while you are in a state of clinical shock. When you make that initial phone call, you must firmly take control of the conversation. You provide only the foundational data points. You state the exact date, the specific time, the geographical location of the collision, and the biographical details of the other driver involved. If the representative asks to begin a recorded statement to detail the physics of the crash or your medical status, you must politely but absolutely refuse. You state clearly that you are reporting the claim as required by your policy, but you are not prepared to provide a recorded statement or discuss the specifics of the impact or your physical condition at this time. You inform them you will provide a formal written statement once you have been fully evaluated by professionals. You have successfully navigated the reporting phase without surrendering your legal leverage. You finally get some rest, feeling completely secure in your defensive posture. However, the next morning, your smartphone rings with an unknown number. You answer, and it is a representative from the other driver's insurance company. They sound incredibly friendly, highly efficient, and they are immediately offering to deposit a seemingly generous, instant cash settlement directly into your checking account today to cover your inconvenience. Accepting this rapid digital payment and signing their electronic release form triggers the seventh catastrophic mistake, one that permanently seals your financial fate and completely extinguishes any chance of fair compensation. That seventh catastrophic mistake is accepting a rapid settlement offer and executing a blanket release of liability before the true scope of your physical and vehicular damage is definitively known. When the opposing insurance adjuster calls you within 24 to 48 hours of the collision, their tone is specifically engineered to disarm you. They sound entirely unlike an adversarial corporate representative. Instead, they sound like a highly efficient concierge attempting to resolve a minor customer service inconvenience. In reality, you are speaking to a highly trained negotiator executing a rapid containment strategy, known throughout the liability sector as a swoop and settle tactic. Historical trends within the auto insurance industry reveal that securing early, premature settlements is one of the most statistically effective methods for minimizing corporate financial exposure. The adjuster knows unequivocally that if they can secure your signature before you visit a certified mechanic or undergo a comprehensive medical evaluation, they can mathematically close the claim for a mere fraction of its true statistical value. The primary mechanism they utilize to achieve this is the immediate digital transfer. In the highly digitized landscape of the year 2026, insurance conglomerates do not rely on mailing physical paper checks, a process that inherently gives you several days to critically evaluate the situation. Instead, they send a secure link directly to your smartphone, offering to instantly route $500 or perhaps $1,000 directly into your primary checking account. The psychological temptation is immense. You are stressed, you are worried about paying your deductible, and this immediate influx of cash feels like a massive relief. All you are required to do to access these funds is click a small digital checkbox, acknowledging their terms of service. That seemingly innocuous digital checkbox is a legally binding weapon. It constitutes a full and final release of all liability. When you execute that digital document, you are formally and legally stating that the at-fault driver and their massive insurance conglomerate are permanently, irrevocably absolved of any and all future financial responsibility related to the accident, regardless of whatever subsequent discoveries you make. You are trading your robust legal right to be made completely whole for a trivial amount of immediate convenience cash. Let us examine a highly detailed case study, utilizing historical outcomes from the year 2026 to illustrate the sheer devastation of this mistake. Imagine a driver named Mark, a regional logistics manager residing in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mark is rear-ended at a relatively low speed, while completely stopped at a highway toll booth. The visible physical damage to his modern electric SUV appears to be nothing more than a minor scuff on the rear plastic bumper cover. The very next morning, the at-fault driver's insurance company contacts Mark. The adjuster is incredibly polite, readily acknowledges their policyholder was entirely at fault, and offers to immediately wire Mark $1,200 to cover the cosmetic bumper repaint, plus an additional $400 classified as a goodwill inconvenience payment. Mark, wanting to avoid a prolonged bureaucratic headache, assumes this is a highly fair and efficient resolution. He taps the secure link on his smartphone screen, signs the digital release with his finger, and watches the funds appear in his banking application seconds later. 1 week later, Mark drops his electric SUV off at a manufacturer-certified collision center to have the cosmetic work completed. The master technicians place the vehicle on a lift, carefully remove the plastic bumper cover, and discover a catastrophic mechanical reality. Modern passenger vehicles in 2026 are highly sophisticated, rolling computer networks. The seemingly minor low-speed impact completely shattered the Advanced Driver Assistance System radar unit, housed directly behind the flexible bumper plastic. Furthermore, the specialized ultrasonic blind spot monitoring sensors require complete, highly technical recalibration, and a critical wiring harness has been severely pinched against the underlying crash bar. The actual structural and technological repair estimate is not $1,200. It is $6,800. Mark immediately forwards this detailed diagnostic estimate to the opposing insurance company, expecting them to smoothly process the supplementary damage. The adjuster firmly but completely legally denies the request. They send Mark a certified digital copy of the exact release of liability he signed 7 days prior. The legal phrasing within the document is absolutely airtight. Mark voluntarily extinguished his right to seek any further compensation for property damage. Because Mark signed that early release, he is now legally and personally responsible for the remaining $5,600 of the repair bill. Furthermore, he cannot even file a subsequent claim against his own collision policy to cover the difference, because by signing the release, he legally prejudiced his own insurance company's fundamental right to subrogate against the at-fault driver. Mark has completely bankrupted his own legitimate claim through sheer impatience. This aggressive swoop and settle tactic is equally, if not more, devastating regarding bodily injury. As previously established, the human neurological system is remarkably adept at masking soft tissue injuries, hairline fractures, and structural micro-tears in the immediate aftermath of blunt force trauma due to massive adrenaline output. When you accept an early, rapid settlement check explicitly framed by the adjuster to cover property damage or minor inconvenience, the dense legal fine print of that digital release almost universally includes a comprehensive waiver for all past, present, and future bodily injury claims arising from the specific incident. If you subsequently develop severe localized nerve pain, debilitating chronic migraines, or severe joint stiffness 2 weeks after executing that document, you are completely barred from seeking any medical compensation from the liable party. You will bear the entire crushing financial burden of those medical expenses, ongoing physical therapy copays, and any potential lost wages entirely alone. You must recognize and internalize that time is your greatest strategic asset following a vehicular collision. The statute of limitations for filing a property damage or bodily injury lawsuit in the vast majority of jurisdictions across the United States is measured in years, not days or weeks. There is absolutely no legal, structural, or financial reason for you to rush into a binding settlement agreement within the first week of an accident. When that rapid response adjuster calls you, radiating artificial empathy and offering an instant digital payout, you must maintain absolute operational discipline. You politely but firmly decline the immediate financial offer. You state clearly and unequivocally that you are currently in the process of obtaining comprehensive, independent diagnostic estimates from certified automotive repair professionals, and that you are actively monitoring your physical health under the advisement of medical professionals. You formally inform them that you will not entertain any settlement discussions, nor will you execute any release of liability documents, until all structural teardowns and physical evaluations are completely finalized. By aggressively refusing the early settlement trap, you have successfully protected your right to full and fair compensation. You have secured the police report, you have documented the scene forensically, you have maintained strict verbal discipline, and you have preserved your legal leverage. Now it is time to actually get your damaged vehicle repaired and back on the road. You call the opposing insurance company to initiate the repair phase, and they once again sound incredibly helpful and accommodating. They inform you that they have a highly recommended, pre-approved network collision center located just 3 miles from your residence, and if you simply take your car to their preferred facility, they will guarantee the repair work for life and drastically expedite the entire process. It sounds like the absolute perfect, frictionless solution to your incredibly stressful situation. However, driving your damaged vehicle into that specific, heavily promoted repair bay is the 8th critical mistake you can make, instantly surrendering control of your property to a massive, hidden conflict of interest that could leave your vehicle fundamentally unsafe to operate. The 8th critical mistake you can make is blindly accepting the opposing insurance company's aggressively promoted, preferred network collision center to repair your damaged vehicle. In the intricate ecosystem of American auto insurance, these preferred facilities operate under what is known as a direct repair program. When the adjuster enthusiastically recommends a specific national chain or a large local body shop, they are not doing so because that facility employs the most skilled artisans or utilizes the highest quality materials. They are aggressively funneling you toward that specific shop because the corporate entity behind the collision center has signed a binding, highly restrictive financial contract with the insurance conglomerate. This contract mandates that the shop must meet stringent key performance indicators to maintain their preferred status and continue receiving a lucrative volume of wrecked vehicles. The primary metrics these shops are judged upon are low average repair costs and rapid vehicle turnaround times. This creates a massive inherent conflict of interest. The collision center is technically repairing your property, but their true, paying customer is the insurance company. To keep the repair costs artificially low and satisfy their corporate masters, these preferred network shops are intensely pressured to utilize aftermarket parts manufactured overseas, or salvaged components stripped from wrecked vehicles sitting in junkyards, legally referred to as like-kind and quality parts. Furthermore, historical trends within the collision repair industry demonstrate a deeply concerning pattern where preferred shops routinely skip expensive, highly technical procedures like pre-repair and post-repair diagnostic scans. In the technologically advanced automotive landscape of the year 2026, modern vehicles are essentially massive, rolling computer networks. A simple plastic bumper cover is no longer just a piece of aesthetic trim. It is a precisely calibrated structural housing for sophisticated radar arrays, ultrasonic blind spot monitors, and advanced driver assistance systems. Consider a highly illustrative case study involving a driver named Daniel, a structural engineer living in the rapidly expanding metropolitan tech hub of Seattle, Washington. Daniel is driving a pristine, fully loaded 2025 luxury hybrid crossover. While stopped in heavy traffic on Interstate 5, he is rear-ended by a distracted delivery driver. The opposing insurance company immediately accepts total liability. The adjuster calls Daniel and heavily implies that if he utilizes their Gold Star Network Repair Center, the process will be utterly seamless. His rental car will be seamlessly billed directly to the insurer, and the repairs will carry a nationwide lifetime warranty. The adjuster then deploys a highly effective psychological threat known as steering, warning Daniel that if he chooses an independent shop outside their network, the insurance company will absolutely not guarantee the work. They might not cover the full hourly labor rate, and Daniel could be left paying thousands of dollars out of pocket. Intimidated by the bureaucratic threat and wanting his vehicle back quickly, Daniel surrenders control and drops his hybrid crossover off at the heavily branded preferred network shop. The potential outcomes for Daniel are mechanically devastating. To comply with the strict cost-saving mandates of the direct repair program, the network shop entirely ignores the vehicle manufacturer's strict repair procedures. Instead of ordering a brand new, structurally uncompromised original equipment manufacturer crash bar directly from the luxury automaker, they install a salvaged crash bar pulled from a structurally compromised vehicle at a local scrap yard. Instead of utilizing the expensive proprietary diagnostic software required to meticulously recalibrate the rear-facing radar sensors, they simply plug in a generic third-party aftermarket sensor, clear the warning lights on the dashboard, and hastily apply a fresh coat of paint. To the untrained eye, the vehicle looks absolutely perfect when Daniel picks it up. 3 months later, Daniel is driving his family through a torrential Pacific Northwest rainstorm. A commercial truck abruptly swerves into his lane. Daniel's advanced automatic emergency braking system, relying entirely on the data fed from that improperly calibrated aftermarket rear radar sensor, completely fails to recognize the impending threat and utterly fails to engage the evasive maneuvering protocols. Daniel is forced to violently lock his brakes manually, sending his vehicle into a terrifying hydroplane that nearly results in a catastrophic, multi-vehicle rollover. Because Daniel unknowingly allowed a network shop to prioritize the insurance company's financial metrics over the manufacturer's rigid safety specifications, his vehicle was returned to him fundamentally and structurally compromised. He unknowingly placed his family inside a beautifully painted, completely uncalibrated kinetic projectile. You must understand and fiercely exercise your legal rights regarding automotive property damage in the United States. In all 50 states, consumer protection frameworks known as anti-steering laws explicitly guarantee your absolute legal right to choose the specific collision center that repairs your vehicle. You are never, under any circumstances, legally obligated to utilize the insurance company's preferred vendor. When the hostile adjuster attempts to coerce you into their direct repair funnel, you must deploy strict, uncompromising verbal boundaries. You state clearly, I am fully aware of my legal right to choose my own repair facility, and I have already selected a manufacturer-certified collision center to handle this claim. You then instruct the adjuster exactly where to send their field appraiser to examine the vehicle on your terms. You must actively seek out an independent, certified collision repair facility that openly advocates for the consumer. You want a shop that explicitly advertises their commitment to utilizing original equipment manufacturer parts and strict adherence to factory repair procedures. A reputable independent shop works exclusively for you. They will systematically tear down the damaged area, document every single fractured clip and pinched wire harness, and relentlessly fight the insurance adjuster to ensure every single necessary procedure is fully funded. They will absolutely refuse to install counterfeit parts on your vehicle, and they will force the insurance conglomerate to pay the true, unmitigated cost of restoring your property to its exact pre-loss condition. You fought the difficult battles. You refused the early settlement, you demanded OEM parts, and you utilized an independent, highly rated structural repair facility. Several weeks later, you finally receive the call. You walk into the bright, immaculate lobby of the collision center, and the manager hands you your keys. You walk outside and your vehicle looks absolutely magnificent. The factory paint match is completely flawless, the panel gaps are perfectly symmetrical, and every single advanced sensor has been meticulously recalibrated by certified technicians. You slide into the driver's seat, the engine starts smoothly, and you drive away feeling an immense wave of profound relief. You believe the entire agonizing ordeal is finally over, that the financial slate has been wiped clean, and that you have successfully navigated the treacherous labyrinth of auto insurance liability. However, you are driving a profound financial illusion. While your car may physically look and perform exactly as it did the moment before the impact, its underlying financial DNA has been permanently and severely mutated. 3 years from now, you will decide to upgrade to a newer model. You will drive this perfectly repaired vehicle onto a dealership lot. The appraiser will run the mandatory vehicle history report, and they will immediately slash thousands of dollars off your expected trade-in value simply because a government database permanently links your vehicle identification number to a collision event. You have just slammed headfirst into the invisible financial hemorrhage of the modern automotive market, and completely failing to aggressively demand massive financial compensation for this specific, hidden loss is the 9th monumental mistake you are about to make. That hidden financial hemorrhage is officially known within the legal and automotive industries as inherent diminished value. When you are involved in a collision, the vehicle identification number is immediately flagged in massive national databases like Carfax, AutoCheck, and comprehensive insurance underwriting systems. It absolutely does not matter if your vehicle was meticulously repaired by the most highly skilled artisans on earth, using exclusively brand new original manufacturer parts. The undeniable historical trend is that a vehicle with any recorded accident history carries a massive, permanent financial stigma in the open retail marketplace. Potential buyers and sophisticated dealership trade-in algorithms automatically assume the underlying structural integrity has been fundamentally compromised by the impact. In the hyper-competitive automotive market of the year 2026, this severe stigma translates directly to a devastating depreciation penalty, routinely wiping out 10 to 25% of the total market equity of your vehicle, the absolute second the police report is officially processed. The 9th monumental mistake is passively assuming the opposing insurance company will voluntarily compensate you for this massive, instantaneous loss of equity. They will absolutely never inform you that diminished value legally exists. It is a strictly consumer-driven legal claim, meaning you must aggressively and proactively force their hand. Let us examine a highly detailed case study, utilizing historical outcomes to illustrate this specific financial trap. Imagine a driver named Rachel, a medical sales representative operating in the rapidly growing metropolitan area of Miami, Florida. Rachel drives a pristine 2025 luxury sports sedan that she purchased brand new for $60,000. She is legally parked at a client clinic when a careless commercial delivery truck abruptly backs into her front quarter panel. The opposing commercial insurance company rapidly pays the $8,000 repair invoice without a single argument. Rachel erroneously assumes she has been made completely whole. 2 years later, Rachel attempts to trade the pristine sedan in for a newer hybrid model. The dealership appraiser scans her vehicle identification number, sees the permanent accident history on the digital report, and instantly drops the trade-in offer by $12,000 below the standard, accident-free market rate. Because Rachel completely failed to file a formal diminished value claim within her specific state's strict statute of limitations immediately following the repair process, she personally absorbs that $12,000 financial loss. The insurance company successfully shifted the entire burden of market depreciation directly onto her shoulders by weaponizing her lack of legal awareness. To successfully extract this highly specific financial compensation, you absolutely cannot simply call the hostile adjuster on the telephone and informally ask for more money. They will immediately and aggressively deny your verbal request, legally claiming the vehicle was restored to industry standards. You must mathematically and empirically prove the exact loss of equity by hiring an independent, licensed diminished value appraiser. This specialized professional will conduct a rigorous, highly localized market analysis, explicitly comparing the exact pre-crash retail value of your specific vehicle against the post-repair market value within your exact geographic zip code. They will generate a legally binding multi-page certified empirical report detailing the precise dollar amount of equity you permanently lost. You then formally submit this certified legal document to the at-fault driver's insurance company as a strict demand for payment. By treating your lost vehicle equity with the exact same aggressive legal scrutiny as a physical bodily injury, you completely neutralize their corporate attempt to artificially minimize your final payout. However, even if you successfully secure your high-quality property damage repairs, perfectly execute your diminished value claim, and meticulously follow every single defensive protocol discussed throughout this masterclass, you can still entirely obliterate your bodily injury settlement in the blink of an eye. The 10th and absolutely most psychologically catastrophic mistake you can make after a minor car accident is voluntarily feeding the insurance conglomerate's multi-million-dollar surveillance apparatus by continuing to actively utilize your personal social media accounts. In the deeply interconnected, highly monitored digital landscape of 2026, your smartphone and your digital profiles are no longer just innocent communication tools. They are real-time, highly unsecured tracking beacons that hostile insurance investigators exploit to relentlessly dismantle your physical credibility. The absolute moment you legally file a bodily injury claim, the opposing insurance company automatically initiates a comprehensive, algorithmic digital background investigation. They utilize advanced web scraping artificial intelligence, sophisticated facial recognition software, and dedicated teams of cyber investigators to aggressively monitor your public profiles, your tagged photographs, your location check-ins, and even the seemingly private social media accounts of your immediate family members and close friends. Their singular, ruthless corporate goal is to discover any microscopic piece of digital media that contradicts the reported severity of your medical claims. They are aggressively hunting for the digital illusion of physical wellness. Let us analyze a devastating case study that highlights this modern technological trap. Imagine a driver named David, an independent logistics contractor living in Phoenix, Arizona. David suffers a severe, medically documented lumbar spine sprain after being violently rear-ended at a high-speed traffic light. His orthopedic specialist officially restricts him from lifting anything weighing over 10 pounds and strictly prohibits all strenuous physical activity to prevent permanent nerve damage. David files a massive, entirely legitimate bodily injury claim to cover his extensive physical therapy and his significant loss of income. 4 weeks into his painful, highly restrictive recovery, David attends his young daughter's outdoor birthday party. For a brief, agonizing 10-second window, David carefully picks up his 40-pound daughter to help her reach a hanging decoration, smiling brightly through the immense, radiating physical pain. His wife captures this fleeting, heroic moment on her smartphone and proudly uploads the photograph to her completely public social media feed. Within 48 hours, the opposing insurance investigators discover the photograph using advanced algorithmic tracking software. The potential outcomes for David instantly transition from a fair, negotiated settlement to an absolute legal nightmare. The insurance defense attorneys aggressively submit the printed photograph as hard digital evidence during the formal settlement negotiations. They willfully and maliciously ignore the fact that David spent the subsequent 3 days bedridden in blinding agony due to that single momentary exertion. They weaponize the static image of him smiling and lifting his heavy daughter to forcefully argue that his spinal injury is entirely fraudulent. They officially accuse him of legal malingering and completely deny his ongoing medical claims. By completely failing to lock down his digital footprint, David handed the hostile insurance conglomerate the exact visual ammunition they desperately needed to portray him as a liar, entirely destroying his legitimate path to medical compensation. To survive this intense corporate digital surveillance, you must enact an absolute, uncompromising digital blackout the exact moment the collision occurs. You must immediately set every single social media profile you possess to the highest possible security and privacy settings. Far more importantly, you must completely cease posting new content, checking into geographical locations, or uploading photographs, regardless of how innocent or seemingly unrelated to the accident the content may appear. You must strictly instruct your friends, family members, and professional colleagues to completely refrain from tagging you in any digital media whatsoever, until your legal and medical claims are entirely resolved and the final settlement checks are firmly deposited in your bank account. You must operate under the absolute, paranoid assumption that every single digital footprint you leave is being meticulously analyzed by hostile artificial intelligence, designed specifically to deny your financial recovery. You have now completed this comprehensive deep dive masterclass on surviving the immediate, highly volatile aftermath of a minor collision in the United States. You understand the absolute necessity of verbal discipline, the paramount importance of securing an independent police report, the strict protocols for forensic scene documentation, and the extreme legal dangers of early settlements, network repair shops, and digital surveillance. You have successfully built an ironclad defensive fortress around your financial and legal well-being. But what exactly happens when you do everything perfectly, and the at-fault driver's insurance company still blatantly ignores your pristine evidence, outright refuses to negotiate in good faith, and completely denies your legitimate claim anyway? There is a highly specific, escalating sequence of legal pressure points and bad faith regulatory triggers you must activate to force a hostile insurance conglomerate into immediate compliance, and we are going to expose that exact strategic blueprint in the next masterclass.